Hi everyone, I'm Chris from Smile HVAC, and today I'm going to be showing you off lots of issues with furnaces that you will be encountering here in Canada. Some things that as a homeowner you'll be able to take care of yourself and save yourself a service call, but then other things that you will need a professional service company to come deal with. So one of the most common problems that you can encounter with your furnace is pressure issues. Now this has to do with these pressure switches not being able to close due to not enough pressure coming through the system to actually close the electrical switch. There are a lot of different reasons that this problem can occur, but before having to call a company, some things you can check as a homeowner, especially during the winter. Outside, your vent pipes, which go out to the side or back of your house, and you will see them terminating outside, can always come and check if there's snow drifts coming up against these pipes, as even just a little bit of snow touching the end of the pipe is enough to completely shut down the system, as you'll create a pressure lock and nothing is going to run. So anytime we have a big snow dump outside, it's always good. Come shovel out the side near your vent pipes. This can prevent issues. Another thing you can check yourself is your drainage. That tube you have there that all the condensate through the furnace drains out of can get plugged over time of just little bits of debris that enter the pipe, and every now and then it just needs to be pulled apart, blown out, and this can help avoid further issues. Now, beyond that, there are many other issues with the motor or the pressure switch or further inside the furnace that you can't really see. These are some problems that you will need a company to come out and have a licensed technician look at, but it's always good to check your vent and check your drain before you get started. Another common issue you can encounter with your furnace is overheating. The system will run for a bit and then it'll shut down. You might notice maybe you get 30 minutes and then it starts to blow cold air, and it'll blow cold air for a few hours before it comes back on. Now, overheating is another thing. Plenty of issues can contribute to this, but the most common one, and one as a homeowner you can check, is your filter. Make sure your filter is being replaced every 2 to 3 months. For everyone is different. Make sure you're putting it in the right direction with the arrow facing the furnace. If you do find your furnace is cycling and you come and see your filter is plugged, pull it out, restart the system. That could very well be enough to get it going. Another common issue you may encounter with your furnaces is a noise that you can hear sometimes all the way from upstairs. Most commonly, the issue has to do with either the venter motor or the blower motor down in the bottom section. These are both, again, things that technicians would need to come out and look at, but even the smallest noise eventually is going to become a bigger noise that can very well shut down the furnace. So one of the most common sources of noise coming from your furnace is something getting stuck in the blower. Your blower motor is down here. This is the one circulating the air through your house, and all it takes is just a little dryer sheet, piece of paper, anything. But if you're hearing some noise and you get in there and you manage to pull out just a little something, that's all it takes to create shaking, to create a whining noise, something you could hear all the way from upstairs, just a little piece. Now you may be thinking, Chris, you talked about all these issues. How am I supposed to know exactly which one I'm having? Every single furnace is equipped with an error code list. Might look a little different than this, but you can always come and check and see what code the furnace is showing. Typically you have a little sight glass like this. You can look in and see error 223, which has to do with pressure, error 227 with locking out, many different errors. Always good, come and check what error your furnace is showing, write it down, and then call in for service. Another common problem you can have with furnaces is your flame sensor failing. How you would tell this is happening is if you were to come up to the furnace while it is running, the flame would come on and shut off, usually after 2 to 3 seconds, and it would repeat this process a few times until the furnace shuts off for good. Now, the flame sensor inside the burner compartment is located right here on this model, and as a technician on site fixing a furnace, this is how you would test the flame sensor. You would first test between the wire and the flame sensor itself while the flame is running, and you would want to have more than half a microamp going through the system. If you're getting less than half a microamp, then that means the flame sensor needs to be cleaned. To do that, it is removed from the burner compartment and cleaned with grit cloth. Now it's important if you're going to clean a flame sensor to use grit cloth and not sandpaper, as sandpaper can leave little sand particles on here, and when they burn over they can solidify onto the rod. Now after cleaning the sensor, it goes back in, and then you would fire up the furnace again and you would test between the wire and the sensor again. And then you can see if you now have above half a microamp, the flame sensor is good. If you're still below half a microamp, then the flame sensor needs to be replaced. Now, when it comes to the filter you have in your system, the most common one are these throwaway pleated filters, which need to be replaced every 2 to 3 months, but sometimes you will have what is known as a cleanable filter. Same goes every 2 to 3 months, but instead of replacing them, you're cleaning them out, rinse them with the garden hose, make sure they're nice and dry before you put them back in. This is important for your furnace to run properly. During a snowstorm or just a large snow dump in general, it is always good to go out to the side of your house and check. You will see your vent termination out on the side or in the backyard of your house. Shovel out around this area, check and see if any snow looks like it's getting in or around the pipe. Make sure the area is clear, as if you have any snow coming into the pipe, this can cause the furnace to shut down, and to keep that whole area clean and clear is going to cause much less problems in the future. So one thing you can check yourself is if you're having any obstructions with your venting. Typically, coming outside from the wall of your house, the pipe would be coming like this. During winter time, you can get lots of snow and ice, either piles up and gets in front of the vent or blows its way in there. Or in the fall, sometimes animals, they will try to nest, or all kinds of obstructions can make their way into this pipe, but it is something you can check yourself before calling the pros. Now, one thing I get lots of questions about is carbon monoxide. Everybody wants to know, is my furnace releasing CO? Do I need to worry about this? What do you guys need to know? So, most importantly, your furnace does have safeguards. If it is either not burning gas properly or it is getting too hot and CO is releasing its way out, there are safeguards that will shut the furnace down, but it is still something good to get checked out. And as a licensed technician coming from a professional company, we are all equipped with carbon monoxide testing devices, and this is something that you absolutely should get checked out, especially when you're getting your annual maintenance. Please ask the technician, do a CO test for me, just for peace of mind, so I can sleep at night. And speaking of sleeping at night, one of the most common side effects of minimal carbon monoxide poisoning is getting headaches and passing out at night. So if you are getting those, it is worth thinking, okay, I should get this checked out just to make sure my machine is operating properly.